Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights, and I want to thank you for joining us today. And for those of you that are new or haven't yet, if you hit that subscribe button, you won't miss a single one of our episodes. And this morning we have Patricia with us, Patricia Bossano. Good morning.
Good morning, Strider. Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this for a couple of weeks now.
Absolutely. And you're an award-winning author too. We like that. You particularly have the Fairy Legacy series, which is Faery Sight, Cradle Gift, and Nia, right?
Nahia.
Nahia. All right, I'll accept that. And Nahia. And a few other singles out there. And some of those are even in Spanish. I love that too.
Yep. That's what I'm working on right now is translating the third book in the Fairy Legacy series into Spanish. And I've completed the translation, and I'm in the second round of revisions for that book. And actually, I just completed that round of revisions yesterday, and I found out that I marked up the manuscript quite a bit. So I think I'm gonna print this thing out once I get all of those revisions incorporated into the manuscript, print it again, and I will have to go through it a third time before I can send it off to beta readers and to my editor eventually. So
Well, it's true. Word for word translations does not often work well when going to another
exactly.
language because it just doesn't. The way things were created and compounded, and it's just different.
Yes, yeah, and I mean literal translations are, it just they end up not making a whole lot of sense. And I'm so glad I'm bilingual because I think if I don't know that I could trust uh, my book being read in a language that I don't speak, because it's like, okay, well, how do I know if the translator interpreted,
I agree.
this,
I agree.
this thing correctly, so yeah, it's been a really fun process to work on the Fairy Legacy in Spanish. And I know that one of the first things that I did was to create a glossary, right? Because since the Fairy Legacy chronicles the lives of three matriarchs in a hybrid fairy human family over a period of 200 years, there are characters that appear um, over time in the three books. And I thought I need to have them be consistent with the words that they use throughout, or their personalities, in fact, right? So
I like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I've actually considered doing some of my books in, well, Spanish too,
Yeah.
because they do sell in other countries, but they sell in English. And so I'd like to have that opportunity to have them in the native language in those countries where they are selling. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing. Not everybody speaks English, believe it or not. It's hard for us to understand that, I know, even though we logically know it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, growing up in South America, I know that people put a great deal of effort into learning English. It's an asset. It's something that you have in your toolbox, and when you go to school, you have to learn English. And so a lot of times when you travel to other countries, you'll find that a lot of people will be able to communicate in basic ways with you when you speak to them in English. Where here in the United States, and I'm in California, so in California, it's like there's been discussion that Spanish is going to be another official language of the state, but I don't know that that's passed any kind of legislation or
Yeah,
anything.
sure. No, I grew up in California, so I understand, I live in Norte Americano. It's we just speak differently.
Right,
So
right.
I'm glad to see that you have those out there. And you've got your Fairy Legacy series, those
Mhm.
three books. You've also got Seven Ghostly Spins
Yes.
and Love and Homegrown Magic.
Homegrown
Love and
magic.
Homegrown Magic. Yeah. I like that. I mean, personally, I like that's a subject matter I've always liked.
Well, my love and homegrown magic is a little bit of a memoir, I guess, and it covers 70 years in the life of a folk magic practitioner who happens to be my mother. And so her story is the story of a lot of immigrants who came to the United States in, in their late teens or very early 20s. Um, and so she met my dad, who's also from Ecuador. They met in New York and they got married. And then I have two sisters. And so the three of us were born in the United States. And I was about 3 years old when they went back home to Ecuador. And so Love and Homegrown Magic is basically that adventure. And it's based on several factual events in my mother's life. Um, and then it's fictionalized around those as sort of an ancestral cleanse exercise. I think that my philosophical fictions all lean heavily to the supernatural. So
Well, and your book, Fairy Legacy series, come on, that's
yes,
um,
yes,
I like it, and it's intriguing that way. In fact, it's even more connective,
yeah.
to know that, maybe there's some background, information here, and just fun that people do grow up differently. There are different theories and lifestyles, and I like all that. I really do. So you've got this set going. Do you have something looking forward to in the future? What are you working on?
Okay, so I'm right now focused on finishing Nahia
Mhm.
in Spanish, and I'm hoping that I'm going to do kind of like a big launch of the trilogy in Spanish for the summer solstice, since the solstice is
It
big
is.
in fairy calendar. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna have all my ducks in a row here so that I can do this launch for the summer solstice, and it'll be a launch of all three books. Um, then after that, and I mean in tandem, right? Because when I get rid of the manuscript and it's off to the editor, then I have time in my hands. And so
That's true.
what I'm hoping to do is I want to write this little um, companion book for October lovers, and it's a collection of 31 flash fictions that that are all about spooky, haunted, kind of weird stuff. And so I'm kind of excited about that because I want to do one for the day, and it'll be, where you get these 50 words of flash fiction that tell a miniature little story, right? Or it just gets your creative juices going. And then there'll be an image to go with each one. So it's going to be kind of like a little picture book for October lovers. And
Okay.
then after that one, then I've started sketching a fourth book for the Fairy Legacy. So it won't be a trilogy anymore. And I'm probably going to work on the English version first, like I did with the others, and then eventually translate that one as well. Yeah.
Very cool. That's good. Yeah, you got something in the future. Well, you've learned a lot then in your writing career, publishing career as it goes. Um, is there anything in particular that gave you a forward boost in that? Any particular program or group, association, anything like that?
So over the years, I've worked with writers groups, um, which really, when you're starting out, I think that it's an invaluable resource when you have a group of people that are kind of like in the same part of the process as you are. And I remember that back in 2011 or something like that, we would, over a month read each other's manuscripts and then give each other feedback and tighten up and that, like I said, I think that that's invaluable because it's sort of like having your tight knit little beta reader.
I
group.
was going to say that's just your beta reader group, and that is really
Exactly.
important because it's easy to miss something. And you can pay for that somewhere. You can get your manuscript overviews, those kind of things, which is
Right.
certainly worth it because you need to have it worked
You need
over.
to,
You just
right.
do.
If you want to put out a quality product, then you need as many eyes as you can,
You do.
because it always happens, even with professional editors or traditionally published authors. You go, you read the book, and you're bound to find a little
Something.
spelling mistake, a little spacing error, or something. You know what I mean?
You need
As
a line edit. You just
Yeah.
do at the end. And that's for those kind of issues.
And as I got more comfortable and made all the mistakes that we all make, when we're starting out and going the independent route, um, then you get comfortable in the process that you have. What I have found um, in terms of continuing to produce and continuing to get out there with my books is that, in a way, you have to redefine certain things for yourself. For instance, one of the critical things that I needed to redefine was success. What it means to me to be successful, right? Because when I
Mhm.
when I started writing full time, success was, I'm going to sell 1 million copies of my books, and somebody's going to come over with a movie deal for my books, right? And then, as I got beaten down with the reality of what the industry is, then it became clear to me there's no quick way to achieve that kind of success. And so I found that, first of all, my books are not for everyone, because since I went the indie route, I just kind of became ingrained in this belief that I write the stories I want to write. And I feel that I fit in with maybe 1% of the world's reading population. And I'm thinking, that's good. That's good, because when you think of how many billions of people are on the planet, 1% of that is
It's still pretty
good.
good. Yeah.
And I'm not going to reach them with Amazon ads or social media ads or that kind of thing. I reach them through in-person events. And
Mhm.
so in the last 10 years that I've been doing this, I've just kind of been narrowing my scope to what are the events on a yearly basis that yield the most for me. And so now, every year I participate in 5 to 7 events throughout the year, and then they range from book festivals to comic conventions to street fairs
Mhm.
that sometimes can be wonderful, and then partner with bookstores.
Yep.
So,
And that is important. I do some personal gigs too to go show book shows and things like that. And I
yeah,
have friends that certainly do. And they market pretty well that way.
yeah,
Not tens of thousands, no, but
yeah,
it is personal contact with people that will
exactly,
read your books. And that's important. And that's
exactly.
something you've learned. And Author in the Headlights is for readers and writers. And so to learn those little insights to help our business, it becomes our business, even if it's just a love of,
It is. It is. And I mean, it's like when I go to these in-person events, I continue to grow my mailing list. And then that's how I can, keep in touch with
Mhm.
these people that have chosen
That's right.
to be included in my little supernatural world. And so, yeah.
Well, I like the subject matter myself. So there. That means it's got the mark of approval on it. How's that? Patricia, we're running out of time here.
Okay.
Just do. I want to say thank you for spending some of your day with us.
Oh,
And Fairy Legacy series and your other singles out there. And people will be able to contact you, patriciabossano.com,
correct.
waterbarrowpress.com, or through dermanpublishing.com. They sponsor Author in the Headlights. You'll be in our bookstore there. And for
Excellent.
those of you out that are authors, there's the author's resource page. Don't forget that for all those things that you might need as an author.
Okay.
All right.
Excellent. Well, thank you so very much. Thank you so much for hosting me. This has been wonderful chatting with you.
All right. And when that other trilogy comes out and you get those things done, let me know and we'll
Okay.
link contacts too. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us today. Till next time. Sponsored by DurhamandPublishing.com.